On to Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Vancouver. Wait, Manhattan. Most of the scenes were filmed in Vancouver. I like that every one of these starts with, seeing Jason where he was last left off. At the end of 7, the chick's dad, which is such a stupid scene, but whatever, pulls him down. Some of the shit falls on them as they go down, and in this one he's still under there. The shit's still trapped up on top of him. He's pretty close to the shore. So I was like, oh cool, they're paying attention to it. This is the last film where they pay attention to that kind of stuff. They really can't do anything after this one since toxic waste completely ate him away to becoming a little boy again, which is the stupidest fucking ending ever. But we'll get to that at the end, even though I pretty much already said what I was going to say. When Jason is drowning at the beginning of this movie, when they're talking about it, when the guy's talking back about it, I don't know if maybe this is just his interpretation of it, hopefully, is what we're seeing. But Jason is a completely normal looking kid when they show his drowning, and it actually irritated me. I haven't seen this film in a while. I keep saying that, but it's been a while since I've seen this film, and this is something that really annoyed the shit out of me on this viewing. I was like, Jason was not. He was a mongoloid, you assholes. The kid that he gets the mask from, the mask has an axe mark in it. Why would it have an axe mark in it? It's fine. I'm kind of glad. It just is nostalgic from the axe wound in Part 3, but I don't know. It's just like, why would that be there? There's a lot of those questions in this movie, though. A lot. The biggest one being, how the fuck did Jason Voorhees sail a boat from Camp Crystal Lake to the Atlantic Ocean? That is one they didn't think through very well. And why would he? The only explanation that they give in this movie is that Jason kills 2 kids that were supposed to be on that cruise. So what? He saw their tickets and decided that he would take their spot, stay in their room. Why he gets on that boat. And then the whole subplot of this main girl and him having history together, where she saw him at the bottom when she was in Camp Crystal Lake swimming and drowning, and then her visions of him through this film, which are so dumb and they're so shoehorned in to try to have connectivity. We need to have her, I don't know, be connected to him in some way. I know that Lar Parklingan from the last one wanted to reprise her role as Tina in this one, but she wanted too much money, so they had to completely rewrite the script and take her out and take our own. So I don't know if maybe she was originally supposed to be on the cruise and he was coming to kill her, and so they just were like, well, how about a girl that was swimming there once and he'll take a boat through. I don't think that this was thought at all. It was made a year after, so I think it was just kind of like, well, we can't get her. We need a new script. He needs to get to New York. Make it happen. And they were like, oh, shit, I don't know. How about this? And it very much shows, because it makes no sense. I do like that the boat is called the Lazarus, though. Obviously resurrecting from the dead like Jason. We have yet another crazy Ralph character in this. We had one in Part 3, the eyeball guy. It sucks that JJ died so quickly in this movie. I like the rock chick, man. I thought she was cool. She's my hottest chick in this movie. I'll get that out of the way here. It was just, I don't know, I liked her character. It was so quick. It was like, oh, really? Her? Come on. She just got in this movie 2 seconds ago. But I'm biased because I thought she was cute. One thing I really did like about this movie is that it utilized a lot of neon lighting. You will hear me talk about this anytime a film has neon lighting in it. I will always rave about how much I enjoy it. I always love it in a film. They could put it in every single movie, and I don't think I would ever get bored of it. Tamara sees Jason sneaking around. I mentioned in my last video how the pothead dude was walking to the fridge, and you see Jason in the corner, and you don't really see Jason hiding much in these films. He's usually just kind of pops up and then just kills them. And in this movie, we actually get to see, like, Tamara catches him in the act. Like, she opens the door and she sees him, like, trying to sneak in the room and be quiet. And it's very rare that you get to see that side of Jason, like him slinking around and, like, trying to be quiet. Which is funny because in this movie, he ends up teleporting like 5 different times. There are scenes where he is clearly over there, and then they turn around and he's there. Like, literally 1 second later, he full on teleports in this movie. It's the first movie where he just is there and then he's there. They turn and then turn. It's funny when you're watching it, you're like, what? You know, which they just kind of threw away all logic in this film. But yeah. Julius is actually, I'll say this again, I'll give away another thing that I usually save to the end, but Julius is definitely my favorite character in this movie. And my favorite line in this movie is like, "What weapon are you going to take, Julius?" And he's like, "Nothing but this gun." I don't know, that line's always been able to crack me up. When they get on this lifeboat, yet again, this is just going to be me completely breaking down all logic in this film. I get it, this film is illogical, and why should I even bother pointing things out like this? Because it's fun, that's why. How the hell did this chick's dog make it onto the life raft, or the lifeboat down below? It's like a 30-foot drop. You can clearly see every single character that is on that boat climbing down the ladder without the dog. And then the dog is clearly not there when they do a down shot, Jason's view looking down on them. And then when Julius pops up out of the water and they bring him in the boat, the dog's just sitting there. And you're like, so the dog can teleport too? A lot of teleporting in the future. See? This movie takes place in 2002, supposedly. So in the future, in their mind, dogs and undead serial killers have the ability to teleport. Good to know. And yet again, Jason, swam all the way to New York? Or he was holding on to the bottom of their boat and just waited till they got to shore instead of killing them because he was afraid that he'd be lost at sea, so he'd let them take them there, biding his time to then just get up and kill them. I do like the part where he sees the billboard. That's a funny one. Rennie, even if she survives this, she has a very good chance of having HIV from that hypodermic needle filled with heroin that she shared with that drug addict. So her life is probably going to be pretty short, despite her living through this. But Jason was on rape watch in this movie. He was not having any of that shit. Jason needs to defend the streets. Julius's fighting scene is, one of my favorite scenes in this film, and that ends up being my favorite kill in this film, is Jason knocking Julius's head off of his shoulders with one punch. Yet again, another scene that never fails to make me laugh out loud. It's so ridiculous, and I love it. But Julius shows how fast you become winded. These kung fu movies where people are fighting for like 30 straight minutes and they don't seem to even be breaking a sweat. Julius, who's a trained boxer, fights Jason for about 1 straight minute of punching, and he can barely even swing his fists any longer. The kid Jason in this movie, which I've already said is stupid as shit, but he keeps getting more and more deformed as the film progresses. And every time they show him, his face is more and more deformed. Now, I don't know if that's because this is him underwater longer, so his body is starting to get, but his whole rest of his body looks normal, so his face is getting, I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to say with that. I can't figure it out. The asshole you want to die in this movie, is definitely Charles, the uncle. Oh, he's he's the Melissa of this film. Melissa from the last film. We got Charles in this one, and it's just yet another one they saved till basically the last kill of the film, and you're just like, oh, thank you. Fucking drowns him in a whatever the hell that is, like green water. I guess they just keep toxic waste laying around. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out there. Maybe turned into Splinter. You've got, I love the scene where Jason comes up and kicks these guys' boombox, and then the punks like pull out their switchblade and they're gonna go toe to toe with Jason, and then he just turns around and lifts his mask and they run off. That was a cute little thing. Instead of him butchering them, right in Times Square, that's all he has to do is just show him his face, show him how serious he was. You also have Jason throwing future Jason into a window, or into a mirror in this film, which I thought was cool to see. The guy that replaces Kane Hodder in Freddy vs. Jason is the guy that he counters in the diner and throws up against the mirror. I thought it was cool. Cool little, like, now Jason and future Jason going toe to toe. And you can kind of see like how much taller he is, because that's why he got axed. They wanted him to be a more intimidating presence against Robert Englund. So you see the difference. It's not all that much. I really just feel like they should have used Kane. I think it's bullshit they didn't, but that's for a different video. You got Jason screaming in this. The first time Jason really makes any vocal noise at all. As an adult, this is really one of the only noises you get out of him. And after toxic waste, which I guess there's just toxic waste laying around everywhere in these movies, Jason screams out. Now, the scene where he actually vomits up water, I read that Kane Hodder actually did drink a whole shitload of water and then vomited on cue for that scene. So when you see the vomit or the water spewing out of him, that is actually Kane Hodder. I've already stated that this is stupid, but let me say it one more time. This ending is so stupid. What the fuck were they thinking? Like, let's put aside the fact that, toxic waste flooding sewers at night and it eating away a person. Okay, that's stupid already. But Jason, and the fact that none of it seems to splash up on them and whatever, doesn't matter. But Jason, reverting back to his boy self and seems to be now in pristine condition. Is that just her vision of what happened? And Jason was just, completely incinerated, boiled down. I don't know what to take from that ending, but God, it just annoys me every time I watch it. I'm like, really? This is what you came up with? This is so stupid. I know everyone thinks that, but I just can't help but talk about it. You have 17 kills in this film, which is, I think, tied with how many Roy kills in part 5. So Jason took a long time to match Roy. But then if you want to count all the kids on the ship that ended up sinking and eventually killing them all, I guess Jason killed everyone on the ship, if you want to count those, which I guess you can. But as far as on screen, we know they died by his hand. He had 17. And as I said, my favorite kill is the head punch, although I do really like the sauna rock into the chest cavity or stomach area. That was gnarly. Hottest chick is JJ, as I said, and my favorite character was Julius. Next up is Jason Goes to Hell, which is one I really just despise. And I've really been looking forward to revisiting it because I want to see if I can gain anything new from it this time. I've said before that I think the kills were excellent. The gore is actually there in this one. And I do have the unrated cut, so I should be able to see it all. But hopefully I can find a little more to like. We'll see. All right, guys.